All right, folks, welcome in to Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn, at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network, and I am excited to hang out with my guy, Swipa Cam. We're actually going to do something very interesting today. We're going to do a preview and then a recap after this game tonight. So we're going to go live twice, both in this particular time slot and then directly after the game, maybe like 30 minutes after the game. Swipe was going to do his show. I'll finish up my article, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. But my guy, we are excited for this one. But unfortunately, I think we gotta go over Game 3. At least you and me a little bit, just because there was a little bit too much that I think there's at least a little to be concerned about for sure. Let's talk about Game 3 if you can. I think. Because we didn't get a chance to talk about this. We previewed it, but we didn't get a good chance to talk about this one together. What are your initial thoughts from that game, and where are you at?
I think some of us said that it's going to take 80 points from Devin Booker and KD to get a game, and they got 86 points. Devin Booker shot 20 of 25 from the field. That was one of the best games I've seen a guard play versus Nuggets in the playoffs. I probably have that behind Damian Lillard's 55 and 10 and Donovan Mitchell's 57-point game, maybe the third best guard game I've seen versus the Nuggets. And then on the other side, Jokic had 30, 17, and 17 in a block, and the only player ever in NBA history to do something like that, like LeBron, Magic, all these players, Larry Bird, incredible. And Kevin Durant, 39 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. I didn't even think he played super well. He attacked the basket, but man, 16 free throws and 14 to 16 from the line. Then Jamal, numbers wise, 32, 5, and 6, but he shot the ball 29 times. It was 13 to 29, and really the fourth quarter is kind of where everything kind of plummeted. So, I mean, I wasn't even mad, honestly, Ryan. I was like, and I guess, mad is not even the operative word. I wasn't even upset with the Nuggets per se. Like, they could have done something better, but Devin Booker was incredible. You kind of tip your hat to guys when they play like that. So definitely opportunity for the Nuggets to win. They missed some wide open 3-pointers down the stretch of the fourth quarter, but it is what it is. You knew the Suns were going to come out gunning in Game 3. There's no doubt. And because if you're the Suns, Game 3 is the time where you have to win, or else you're going down 3-0 and you're never coming back from the series anyway. So this was their Super Bowl. This was where they needed to come out and get the job done. And I'm seeing the chat here, and it's seeing it once again. There's a lot of Jamal Murray blame going on. There's a lot of people that forgot that he got them into this game, that he was playing great for most of it. Had a couple times where he over dribbled for sure, and he sucked in the fourth quarter. I don't want to dispel that, but look, I think that there's a lot of folks, and I've been frustrated with the chats. I've been frustrated with the general discussion about this because everybody talks about Jokic like he's God. Everybody talks like he didn't sometimes struggle in that first Minnesota series, and then ultimately had some great games. There's no doubt about it. But like, Jamal was the guy that helped get them over the top in several of those games, and like it's frustrating to me because I look at this and I look at, okay, Aaron Gordon and KCP combined to go 4 of 17 in the game. Nobody's talking about that. Why is nobody talking about that? Those are the other two starters that you've been counting on for the entire time. And Michael Porter was fantastic. He was great. Like, that's something where he hadn't been great in the first 2 games and then showed up in Game 3. And so hopefully that continues in the rest of the series, but we don't know. We don't know whether it will. I think with Jamal, we know he's going to be better. We know he's not going to shoot 29 times and only make 32 points in this next game. Like, that's just not going to happen. I think he's going to evolve. And I don't know. Like, I get frustrated with the overall conversation around it because he carried them in the first quarter and the first half.
Yeah, I just think it's funny. I think people, again, a lot as fans, right? And people that love watching the Nuggets play. And I think that there's a real criticism that Jamal was dribbling a little too much down the stretch, that he should have probably passed it out of some of those actions, and especially some of those pick and rolls, And I think I think it's a twofold thing. Some people say, well, Joker should have been more engaged when they got a switch and he had a small on him. But I think some of this is Jokic knows Jamal, and Jamal at the start of the game was getting isolation versus the bigs, and he was cooking them. And in the third quarter, so Jokic backed out and be like, all right, Jamal, go ahead, eat, do what you got to do. And Jamal just missed some shots. So,
which happens. That's just going to happen. I think the Suns made their shots and the Nuggets didn't. And I honestly think that this is more of a Nuggets defense issue rather than a Nuggets offense issue, because think about all that happened and they still put up 114. Like it wasn't like they had a bad offensive night or anything. And it just wasn't good enough this time around. So I'm more worried about the defense than I am about the offense personally. And I think that Jamal has some of those issues as well. So like we're going to get into all of it, but it is frustrating for everybody to try to boil it down to like, oh yeah, it's just this, or it's just this. There's a lot of it. Everybody can play better.
Well, Jamal is 1 of 15 from 3 in his last 2 games. He was shooting 46%,
which sucks.
3, and then he plummeted to 37. And I'm saying y'all right now, whatever the over is on the Jamal Murray threes, take the over tonight, because I guarantee you he is not going to shoot that bad from threes. And again, 3 for 15. And they won, and then 13 to 29, and they barely lost. And again, a couple of those shots go down the stretch. We're having a completely different conversation. So yeah, Jamal is still growing as a point guard, and you can tell. Like I even said it, on Twitter. I think he needs a little bit more Steph Curry in his game at times, a little more off-ball movement. But it happens. Like Golden State Warriors fans, they complain about Steph Curry not being aggressive enough far too more often than people realize. So I think it's just, you're working through the playoffs and trying to figure out how to get there. So I expect a better Jamal tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a little bit different. I also want to mention that the bench for the first time was a big minus this time around. And it's hard for me to point out to like why that was specifically.
Kevin Durant and Devin Booker starting in the fourth quarter in a 7-0 run was a part of that.
Yeah, that was definitely part of it. There's no doubt about that. Bruce Brown missed a clutch 3 in that middle of that fourth quarter where you're running down the left lane. I was thinking to myself, and I remember that stat where NBA University put out that he's like 50% from the right corner and he's 13% from the left corner. Crap. Wish he was on the other side of the lane this time, but it is what it is. No, it's sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. And Phoenix earned that game and they played a bunch of minutes. They played a bunch of guys. There was an opportunity where I thought Jamal drew a charge on Devin Booker, and
it was a clear charge. Even the head of officiating said it was.
Apparently not. I guess not. But it's very, very frustrating on that. But look, I mean, I think that everybody's going to play a little bit better in Game 4. I think that the Nuggets know what the counters were that the Suns made, and that's going to be a little bit different this time around. And the things this time around. Well, let me ask you this. They went to Jock Landale over Deandre Ayton, and there's been a lot of discussion about Ayton throwing a hissy fit during that Game 3 and after that Game 3. Where are you at with that? And is that something that Denver can try to take advantage of here?
I just think it's hilarious because Monty Williams is, sometimes like Coach Michael Malone, for instance. Michael Malone has a better relationship. I would say a much better relationship with MPJ than he does with Monty and DeAndre Ayton. They've never had a fallout like that Game 7 last year, right?
Yeah.
But MPJ knows situationally that Bruce Brown will close over him at times because of defense or whatever. The problem is Ayton doesn't have that relationship with Monty, and Ayton was already getting booed by the Suns fans. There's stuff happening in the media. People are asking questions about his effort. And then on top of that, he has, a couple bad plays, and then they take him out for Jock Landale. And I'm just like, bro, they need Ayton in this series. And if Ayton is not mentally there, you have no chance. So I feel like Ayton definitely could have played better. I just don't love the way that he's kind of being scapegoated. Like he's the core of the Phoenix Suns issues. But, I mean, excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah, he has to play better tonight, man. But I'm not going to lie, bro. When I saw as soon as Jokic got that, the ball got tipped out of Ayton's hand. Jokic got that floater. I knew as soon as Monty went down the line that Landale was coming in. I was like, bro, I don't know how they're going to stop this.
It's funny, man. Like It is interesting. I do think that they found some good things with Landale, just doing the right stuff within their offense and executing what they wanted to execute. I'm surprised that Joker didn't go to the post a little bit more in that situation. I'm surprised that he didn't try to, like, I mean, there were times where I thought he would be a little bit more aggressive, but they strictly went to two-man game in that section with a bunch of Jamal Murray ball handling. And like, I thought that was the wrong decision, but I also know that, like, it's not just Jamal's call in that situation. Like, they can dictate it. Like, hey, we think that you should probably try to get the ball to Joker in the post. Jamal's not, like, he's not. I see a lot of, like, he's selfish. He would definitely pass the ball to Jokic.
Where did this switch on Jamal come from, though? Like, I just think it's so funny. Like, when was he ever known as a selfish player? Like, and it's not selfishness. I think what people have to realize about basketball sometimes, Ryan, is they have a system. Their system is built around, in the fourth quarter, in a clutch situation, a two-man game.
Yeah.
When Jamal has his shot going, which he did in the first three quarters, sometimes he's going to be a little more aggressive as a scorer or as an on-ball creator. But again, the game before, when he didn't have it on, he was forcing the ball to Joker, and Joker had to get him into some action just to get him to take a couple shots. So it's just figuring out your rhythm. And Jamal, again, he's 26 in his age, but he basically missed 2 seasons. So if you have all that, he's a little behind in some ways, but he's still playing incredible. I think sometimes people just have to, like, take a step back and be like, they're figuring stuff out as they go. But they still have the same complaints about Devin Booker. If tonight, if they lose this game and Devin Booker if he goes 1 for 6 down the stretch, they're going to have things to say about Devin. Like, Devin, you got to get a better shot here. You can't try to keep hitting contested mid-range two-pointer, even though that's his shot profile. But that's just what happens in basketball.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And maybe it was Joker getting hit in the nuts. Maybe that was it. Maybe campaign was just, maybe it took Joker out of his rhythm or something like that. But I don't know. Like, and I hope people don't have this as me coming across like Joker was fantastic in this game. He was unbelievable. This was more of a stylistic choice that I think Denver would have benefited from rather than anything else. That's all I'm trying to say on this front. And I always think that Joker should be the guy who dictates a lot of that stuff. And I felt like Jamal was dictating it for sure. If Joker doesn't, then Jamal will, is kind of where the two-man game comes from. So will see.
Before we wrap up game 3, what are your thoughts on the first 30-17 game in NBA history?
I mean, it's unbelievable, man. I noted the passing in that first quarter. He had like 7 or 8 assists in that first quarter. I thought, holy cow. Like, some of the passes that he's throwing, it's unbelievable. And the blind pass that he threw to KCP in that second quarter, when he came right back into the game, he's just standing at the top of the key. Nobody has any idea what's coming. And like the funniest reaction was Kevin Durant, because it was like, oh shit, like just waiting for the ball to come past his face. Like, it was hilarious to see. And like, I love when Joker gets into the passing mode. There's no doubt about it. Unfortunately, I think that there were more opportunities for him to put up points. And that's not like, it's not a criticism. It's just a stylistic thing. Like, how can you criticize the first 30-17 and 17 game? Like, where's anybody doing in that situation? But no, he was fantastic, man. He's unbelievable. And it is funny that like Booker gets deservedly as much love as he does for the game that he had. And Joker may have had a statistically better game.
Well, I've said it multiple times. I think it's greatest 47 is there's no comparing to a 30-17 output from a center in an NBA playoff game. And on 19 shots, he had 30 points. So, and then if Aaron Gordon hits that three-pointer, if Michael Porter Jr. hits that three-pointer, if Jamal Murray hits that three-pointer, we're looking at 20 assists. 20 from a center. So, again, man, we're just, it's just great. But I don't know, Ryan, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm so excited for game 4. I think game 4 can be great.
Well, I was curious. I was going to ask this one question here. Just one game, or should Nuggets fans have some concern about where the series is going?
The Suns are a good team, y'all. Newsbreaker. Like, they have 2 great scores. And their whole formula is Devin Booker and Kevin Durant going off for winning. And they scored 86 points together. So I'm saying that if they don't do that, they don't win. So the Nuggets on the other end, they are 2-1. They have 2 double-digit wins, and they have an opportunity to get a 3-1 game lead tonight in Phoenix. And again, you have Joker, who literally, I think in this game, I think Joker is going to turn on that score mode because he's going to try to put them away and get it done in Denver. So Jamal also was 1 of 15 from 3. Jamal's been one of the best 3-point shooters off the dribble, off the step back, off the catch, and pull up in the playoffs. And he went 1 of 15 in the last 2 games. So, I think it's going to be a good game. But again, the Nuggets have 4 games to win 2. That's the thing I want people to realize too. They have 4 more games to win 2 more games to get the series.
No doubt. They can make that happen. And I think that's probably the right call. Even if Denver does lose game 4, they still have 2 more home games like in this series. Like that's always a great, exciting thing about having home court advantage and about taking care of business when you need to. Denver, if they get 1, then they have an opportunity to close this thing in 5. If they don't get 1, then they still have an opportunity to win both of the home games, and that's going to be okay. But I think that I could get the sense that there's some momentum building behind the Suns right now, and deservedly so, because when you see 47 on 20 of 25, you're like, holy cow, can they actually stop them? I think that Denver will be better defensively in game 4, and we're going to see how. So,
yeah, I agree.
Should be good. All right, folks, let's take a break here. When we come back, we are going to discuss game 4, previewing it in full. But first, everybody, this podcast, as you know, it's brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook. Baseball is back. The push for postseason is here for hockey and for hoops. Make it all count this spring with Superbook Sports. Superbook is the best wagering app around, with a direct line to experienced bookmakers behind the counter in Las Vegas. Plus, get a $250 bonus when you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day. Don't let spring pass you by without winning money with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We will be right back on Pickaxe and Roll. All right, we're back. Pickaxe and Roll. Ryan Blackburn here. Weekends with Swipa edition of this pod. Again, if you weren't in the chat initially, we are going to do a recap tonight as well of this game. Figured don't want to necessarily wait until tomorrow to actually recap it. And Swipa, we're not going to do takes from the future today, so we got to do takes from the future tonight. Should be a lot of fun. I'm excited for where that goes and what the Nuggets ultimately do here. But now we got to preview this bad boy. We got to talk about this game. It's tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for everybody in this Denver time zone. There's a variety of questions that the Nuggets have to answer, of course. I think the Suns, when they went all offense as much as they did, made things easier for Denver or for the Suns to score as much as they had to. And they did. They got the job done at home. So my question to you is, can the Suns replicate their offensive performance from game 3?
Yeah, they could be even better offensively. Once again, they didn't shoot well. They shot 25% from 3, 47% from the field, something like that.
Something like that.
So if that's the case, yeah, they can play better, and I think they will. But again, a lot of this comes down to, again, Porter was 6 of 10 from 3. Jokic was 1 of 2 from 3. And outside of those 2 players, nobody else on the roster, for the most part, really shot super well. So I think a lot of this comes to Murray was getting downhill, attacking the basket in the first half. Jokic has an opportunity to cook inside. Porter, I think he's going to get more touches today because he deserves more touches and because he played really well last game on limited touches. So I think that they can definitely play better. But I think this kind of game to go up 3-1, it requires you to play better. So if the Nuggets are serious about that, then they're going to have to play better. That's what it's going to take to beat the Suns at home.
Yeah, Suns, and with the Suns playing on the offensive side of the ball, they did shoot 50% from the field, got 16 of 18 from the line, but only 2 guys took free throws, and 16 of those came from Durant and 2 came from Booker. Right. I wonder if Denver can prevent Durant from getting on the line as much as he did. Some of those calls by Zach Zarba I thought were a little bit weak, not going to lie, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's just going to happen when you're a star in your own home building. For Booker, though, Denver, they've got to come up with some stuff there. I'll talk about that in the next question, but The guys that I want to focus on, the Suns played 10 guys. They played 5 off their bench, but Josh Okogie in their starting lineup played 10 minutes. Torrey Craig played 3 minutes. TJ Warren played 26. Jock Landale played 22. Shamet 25, and Terrence Ross 14. They went offense. They went with guys that they could try to score, and Denver could not ultimately stop them. They could not ultimately get enough stops in this particular setup. I think that Denver's going to adjust. I think that they're going to try to come up with some better ways to slow down Booker, maybe double him a little bit more. Maybe they'll try some different shading on where they try to force him. Like they try to force him to his left a little bit more. I thought he went to his right a little bit more in this last game. But we're going to see. We're going to find out. And there's a lot to like. Devin Booker's game is great. So if you're the Nuggets, how do you stop Devin Booker? How do you slow down Devin Booker?
Not just letting him get free run and transition for starters.
Yeah.
They were blitzing, and Devin Booker especially, the Nuggets in transition, whether it be pull-up threes off of live ball turnovers or pull-up threes off of misses, or just even getting to the restricted area. Like, you just can't do that. So some of this is you want to give those easy opportunities. Don't give them as many as they did last game and limit those opportunities they have. And then on the other side of this, I think that they're going to double Booker a lot more on the ball. I do expect them that they're going to trap him. Some of this is not dare KD to beat you, but a lot of this is you're going to be trapping and shifting between KD and Booker and basically telling Ayton and Warren and Payne and whoever else is on that roster that you're going to have to get more shots up this game because we're not going to give them the same kind of shot profile and especially the volume that they had. And then with the bench, some of this is just going to have to rebound better with Landale on the court. That was one of the things he did. He was fighting for extra possession, even though the Nuggets won the rebounding battle. So, again, I want people to understand this. Nuggets won the rebounding battle. They won the free throw battle, but they still lost the game on the margins on some other things. And some of this is the Suns just had like 3 less turnovers than the Nuggets. So I think they're going to put more pressure on the ball. I would pick up Devin Booker full court, especially if he's going to play as much as he is. Because, again, you want to get him as tired as possible. We're running actions on him at the other side, and we're picking him full court when he's on offense.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I think your point about transition is really, really good. I think that Denver, in this case, they're going to have to do what got them there. They're going to have to be a disciplined defensive team. KCP's got to play better on that end. There's no doubt about that. Christian Brown, 5 fouls in this last game, and in 10 minutes, Bruce Brown had 3 fouls. Denver, they've got to be disciplined. They have to defend without their hands. They have to defend with their body as much as they can and be physical without fouling. That's a hard balance to strike when you're on the road. And especially if you're, let's say, Christian Brown and you're a rookie going up against Christian Brown or going up against Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Like, that's going to be a really tough uphill battle. I think that Denver can do it, but it's going to take everybody. It's going to take a really strong effort from everybody. And I think that Denver played a little bit of drop with Jokic when Devin Booker was in the pick and roll. They probably can't do that going forward. Like, got to be aggressive. Jokic has to be up at the level as much as he can be. And whether it's a physical thing or not, like, I think that he's got to be as engaged and involved in that defense as possible. And I don't think he was as engaged and helpful in the defense this last time around, though he did have 17 rebounds, and that obviously helps make up some of that difference.
Yeah, so definitely the defensive intensity on the perimeter, KCP, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Jamal Murray. A lot of that's going to be your responsibility to make sure you're doing that. And then also just not giving easy shots. Like, that pull-up at the end of the third quarter, Ryan, was unacceptable. And then they lost Devin Booker at the start of the game in the first quarter in transition. They lost Cameron Payne in transition for a wide-open three-pointer. Those 3 plays, that's the game. So you just can't do stuff like that. And, Michael was responsible for one of those. I think Jamal, and I can't remember the last one. So, again, just stuff like that you have to clean up, especially when a team is desperate playing at home.
Let's now talk about Jokic, Murray, and MPJ. Jokic, obviously, 30-17 last game. Murray, 29 shots, probably going to take fewer than that this time around, but you never know. Like, maybe he just goes 20 of 29 in this game, and we'd have a completely different game, and maybe that's the thing. That'll be fun. But let me ask you this: where are you at with this trio, and what are your expectations for one or each of those guys?
Yeah, they all shot really well. I think Murray and Porter. Porter had 3 turnovers without having any turnovers in the playoffs. 3 turnovers, 2 in the first quarter. All of them came when he was getting outside of the framework of the offense. So for me, it's Porter gets more opportunities within the framework of the offense. Murray, it's not about dribbling less. It's about seeing the court better at certain times and maximizing the personnel. Because just because you have Ayton or Landale on you doesn't mean that's just a one-on-one matchup for you. That means that's a one-on-one matchup for Joker. And if Joker pushes the ball up, then you got AG and MPJ on mismatches up for the offensive rebound. And I know they know that because, again, you see Joker, one of the reasons that when Murray gets it on isolation, he'll then wait for a shot to go up, cut to the rim, and get an offensive rebound. So they're in sync with each other. But some of this is just better point guard from Murray, perhaps, in this game. And I think on the other side of this, Joker, I think Joker knows that the game is going to call for him to be a little bit more dominant as a scorer. And again, 30 points, 19 shots, great. But again, 39 points in the last game. On how many shots did he have in the game before? I think it was 26. I think.
Yeah, it was in the mid-20s. I'm pretty sure.
Right. So I think you're going to see more of that. I think that's about where Joker's going to be tonight.
That would be great. I think that you have to have your stars show up in a big way. Obviously, it was a little bit funny in this last game, but I mean, this team has seen a bunch of game 3s and game 4s together. I think people forget there's a lot of opportunities for those guys to show what their experience has been like and to like take advantage of these opportunities. I think back to the quadruple overtime loss to Portland in 2019, where 36 hours later, you got to turn around and you got to get a dub, and you do. And you win in that game 4 and even up that series. And both Jokic and Murray were fantastic in that game. So Denver has opportunities here to right the ship a little bit, play a little bit better. I think that Murray, one of the things that I think bothered him in this last game was that when Okogie plays only 10 minutes, when Torrey Craig plays only 3 minutes, and you're taught, okay, they've got their offensive guys in, I should be aggressive in this matchup. It's a great opportunity for me. I think that's probably got to change a little bit. That mentality's got to change a little bit, and he will be better with that this time around. There's no doubt. But I think getting off the ball is a good idea. I think that running around on the baseline and curling around screens and flaring out, that's a good idea, trying to free himself up that way. Got himself free that way in a lot of ways in game 1. And there's I think there's an opportunity there for him to continue to do that. But for Porter, I was happy to see him just letting it fly from 3 in some of these moments. The 1 3 that he hit where he was under the basket, and
hold on, timeout. Start that story off right. It was an out of bounds play.
Yeah, out of bounds play. They called it for him.
Bro, what was it, a pin down literally from underneath the basket, curled around on a dribble handoff. Bro, Jokic was like almost at the free throw line. Handed him the ball. He took 2 giant steps, fading way to his right, was able to kick. Bro, I was like, dog, ain't no way this man's that good of a shooter.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And if he's going to be shooting it like that, he's so capable of it. And like, if they are going to put weaker defenders on him, because that's the fact of this, is that we can talk about Murray all we want to. We can talk about Jokic all we want. But they've been putting weaker defenders on Porter for the entire series. And Denver they didn't take advantage of it in the first 2 games. They did take advantage of it in game 3, but it was probably a little bit too late. I think that if game 4, if this rolls around and they've got TJ Warren guarding him, like, what are we doing, man? Like, run him around screens and get him free so he can hit some shots. And if you do end up getting stops, find that man in transition so that he can hit some wing 3s, because those are his favorite plays, and they are the biggest boost to Denver, I think, just over everything. Getting him out in transition and hitting a big-time bucket.
Bro. And then he had the cut from the top of the key to the basket.
Oh, my God.
And dunked on Kevin Durant. I'm just like, bro, like, this dude is so freaking talented, man. It's just, the Nuggets have just really been slow in how to integrate him in their offense sometimes. But, again, I expect Porter to also play well today because I think he's now kind of feeling it. You know what I mean? He got his first good game in the series. I think he's on the rhythm. I also think that him, Jokic, and Gordon, they need to dominate as rebounders today.
they like Gordon especially. He's been a little bit weaker as a defensive rebounder, but mostly because he's on Kevin Durant a lot of the time. But Gordon had 6 offensive rebounds and only 3 baskets, which is that's just not good enough. Like he absolutely has to be better and more efficient in these particular times. And KCP, I'm not sure what I expect. Like his is basically, hey, do I get the open shots from 3 or don't I? He didn't in this last game, and that's fine. But he's got to be better there. In general, like I think that Denver's got to shoot better. Like, will they shoot better is a major question in this particular game, because 2 of 12 from 3 outside of the big 3, and Murray and Jokic was 1 of 2. Murray was 1 of 6. So you could even boil it down to, hey, Denver was 4 of 20 outside of Michael Porter. That's just not good enough. And Denver's got to be better there. So will they be better there, Swipa?
They shot 26% in game 2. Then in the Nuggets in game 1, they had a good shooting game. They shot 43%. And then I think they shot 25% in game 3. So they shot 33% in game 3. So I think that, again, I think they're going to have a good shooting game today because they need to. But also, like, you just can't keep missing. Like, at some point in time, those shots are going down. And KCP, Jamal, even Bruce on some of those spot-up attempts, like, they have such good looks. And I think Aaron's probably going to hit 1 today because he's been a little cold too. So I do expect his shooting to be better. I don't think it's going to be like 45, 44%, but 38, 39% I think should be a reasonable ask.
There's no doubt about it. And like, that's what it boils down to. In Denver, their system is a lot more holistic in that, where Jokic is going to spread the ball around. Murray, as often as he gets called selfish, like he's not, like he tries to set up teammates as well and has had a better passing season than he's ever had before. Denver's entire ethos is about sharing the basketball, and I think they're going to get back to that. I think they're going to try. They called a couple of plays at the beginning of this last game for Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter specifically. It didn't go well. Maybe that's one of the reasons why it then became so Jokic and Murray centric for much of the game, was that the beginning of this game, Denver couldn't really score. They couldn't really do much, and nobody was hitting shots. So it's going to be fascinating to see what it looks like. But I am very curious to see whether Denver can get that done. All right, my guy, let's wrap this up with some predictions here. Where are you at? Where's your mentality at with this? And do you think that the Nuggets end up getting it done? Because we both predicted a win the last time, and that didn't go well.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix was desperate. I think the Nuggets, if they want to do what they need to do and keep the series as well, the Nuggets have not dealt with series pressure yet. I think they want to also kind of keep that going. I think they win tonight because this is almost a must-win game for what they want to accomplish. Not in terms of like on the series, but for what they want to accomplish, I think they need to win because they need to keep Phoenix at bay. Like, you don't need any – you have – like, tell them basically you almost have no chance. You got 2 great players, but you have no chance. I think Jokic is going to have a great scoring game today. I think Murray's going to shoot a little better, maybe on a little less volume. I think Booker is still going to have a good game. I don't think you can have a 40-plus game, but I don't think you can also just keep allowing that. They had 2 scorers over double digits last game. Like, there's just no point. Like, we don't need to let you do this. So I do think the Nuggets win tonight. I would say score prediction, I'm going to say 113 to 109 tonight. Denver.
It's funny. I was going to say 115 to 110 for Denver. And I think that you're right about this. I think that Denver, they've got more avenues to get better than where the Suns do. That's the most important thing. It's just going to be fascinating to see how Murray responds to this. Like, I still don't think that he played great in this last one, and he has an opportunity to make good on that. He has an opportunity to be better. And like, he's always responded in these situations. And I think Jokic, every time he needs to raise his game, he does every single time. And it's very, very rare that he doesn't actually do that. And I think this time around where they are trying to it's just, I think that he's going to go for 40. I think that Joker goes for 40. I think that's where I'm kind of at with this, is that as opposed to previous times, that's what I was trying to say. Jock Landale, DeAndre Ayton, like that matchup is going to be a little bit different. And I think the Joker's going to start to force double teams in a manner that he really hasn't really in these playoffs, because so many of these teams have been just trying to slow his passing down. And it led to 17 assists in this last game. And I think it could have led to 25 just with the number of open shots that Denver missed and the number of opportunities that I think they missed. So we're going to see what it looks like, but I think that Jamal will play better. I think he's going to shoot way less. I think the Joker will shoot way more. I think that Porter will have about the same game that he did. I think that Gordon will play better. And that, to me, that's enough of a combination to get this dub.
I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I mean, Joker could have a 40-20 game tonight. And none of that's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that can happen. And that's hilarious to say, but we are going to have to see. Folks, I think that's going to do it on this particular episode, unless you've got anything else you want to talk about, Swipa.
No, that's it. We got plenty to talk about after the game. You know, if it goes well, we're going to be on for 50 minutes, bro. So, you know, let's lock it in.
100%. Michael hit that outro music for us. That is going to do it for this episode of Weekends with Swipa, brought to you by Superbook Sports. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We have fun on this show. We are doing our best, and I think that the Nuggets they're gonna come back out strong, and it's gonna make us look like geniuses. Should be a lot of fun. When has Jokic ever let you down, man? That's where we're at with this. So should be very fun.
As long as Joker doesn't have to win it on the free throw line, Ryan, we should be good to go.
Hey, man, like we're gonna see Tony Brothers, baby. Tony Brothers. I forgot to mention that. He's gonna score 40 in the Tony Brothers game. Oh my God. We will see, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this podcast. We will be back tonight for the recap. Should be good. See ya.